short piece of scripture that is read out loud. The pericope of the foolish farmer. Context. Jesus is speaking before crowds of thousands. This happens earlier in this chapter, where he is talking to his disciples, and the crowds are listening in, eavesdropping in on what he's saying to his disciples, eagerly lapping up the wisdom that is coming out. And after hearing Jesus encourage his closest followers, he asks them to stand firm in your faith, even in the face of persecution. He tells them to trust their lives to God. He tells them to fear nothing in this life. And what does the crowd respond with? Jesus, tell my brother to split my inheritance with me. A total non sequitur. Where the heck does this come from? After being told all those important life lessons, someone pipes up and says, give me my fair share. I want mine. Inheritance can be a truly difficult time for families. How many families have you ever seen or heard of that really split up over the inheritance that goes on? It happened in my family. Not, thank goodness, this time around when my mother passed away this spring. But in earlier generations, it seems like there's a pattern here. Families split up. It's a problem. Reminds me of this little sixth grader. The teacher poses a question to her sixth grade arithmetic class. I loved word problems when I was a kid, and I still do. A wealthy man dies, and he leaves $10 million. 1/5 goes to his wife, 1/5 goes to his son, 1/6 goes to his butler, and the rest to charity. And the teacher says, now, what does each one get? After a very long silence, little Johnny raises his hand. Now the teacher knows little Johnny, so she reluctantly, anybody? Somebody? Little Johnny's the only one with his hand up. So reluctantly, she looks up and says, okay, little Johnny, what's the answer? And with complete sincerity, little Johnny answers, they each get a lawyer. He's probably right. Where there is a will, as someone has said, where there is a will, there is often a lawsuit. Families are torn up by these issues. And really and truly, where is it? Where is it in our lives that we break up relationships, family relationships, over money, over avarice? Anyway, Jesus refuses to take this man's case. And instead, he gives us this parable, the foolish farmer. The foolish farmer is already rich. Notice in this passage, the foolish farmer is already rich. Although that's a little questionable in the Gospel of Luke. That's not what condemns him in this situation. He's already rich. And then he has this super abundant crop. Amazing yield. What a day. Truly something that he should be given thanks for. And what does he do? He pulls down his barns. He pulls down his barns in order to erect new ones. When they're up and they're full, his life is claimed. All his stuff went for naught. Why is it that we break ourselves up over money, over things, over stuff? It really is truly one of the most enduring issues in our lives. Only to be told that it is greediness which gets us into trouble. That's what Jesus was asking us about. That's what Jesus was telling us about. It's not necessarily wealth, not necessarily. greediness. It's avarice. Jesus comes out and says, be on guard. Be on guard in the case of avarice. I was in a retreat once, not too long ago. I went to a friend's house. He built a cabin up in West Virginia on the great CUCC River. I don't know why I have trouble saying CUCC, but that's it. CUCC River. We were up there last summer helping them put up drywall and doing a little bit of work on the place, and then playing around in the great CUCC River, which at that point ain't all that great, I gotta tell you. You can walk across it almost anywhere. But I was sitting out on his front porch and he had hung a hummingbird feeder. And I was just fascinated by these hummingbirds coming from every direction, feeding on this hummingbird feeder. I'd never really seen that, never noticed it before. Like, amazing, these birds flying backwards and forwards, hovering like that to feed. Not too long after that, I was explaining this to a friend of mine as we were listening to the radio in the car. And I said something about, what a wonderful thing. I think I'm going to get a hummingbird feeder, only to have on the radio, on NPR, someone say that they were a member of the Boring Man's Club somewhere in Massachusetts. And what does one do at the Boring Man's Club? Well, we discuss hummingbird feeders and things like that. Hummingbird feeders. Okay, maybe I'm boring. But the amazing thing is that this one observation is that you may see 3, 4, 5, 6 hummingbirds feeding at this feeder, and then all of a sudden, you will only see one. And that one bird is probably a male. That one hummingbird drives off all the other hummingbirds. It's very territorial there. Very territorial. The thing is that hummingbird will hang around that feeder constantly. It will go nowhere else. It will relinquish control of it. Never. So instead of finding a place of abundance for itself, maybe a place of abundance for its entire species, it's now trapped and territorial around that one place. We have to be on guard against our avarice natures. It's just the way we are. It's a value lesson. Sometimes we assume ownership of things. In this case, a hummingbird feeder. In other cases, houses, real estate, stocks, bonds, whatever it is. We assume ownership when really what it is just stewardship. It's a temporary situation. None of the stuff that we have, that we hold dear, is going to be there forever. Like the balloon that was lifted up in the rafters, it does come down. We don't have to be told this, really. But somehow we forget it. We try and turn a blind eye to the reality of how our stuff really doesn't matter. I'm as bad as anybody. I do the same thing. I have my stuff in my little apartment, but because I have so much stuff, I've rented a storage room. And in that storage room goes the other stuff that I don't need right now. What, really? Do I really need it? I don't know. I have a tough time letting go of these things. I have a very tough time letting go of these simple things. Chairs, sewing machines that my mother gave me. But I don't use them. Maybe someone else can get some use out of them, but I don't want to hang on to them. It's avarice that's coming out. It's normal. It's what we all do. It's actually part of the human condition, I would say. But that's just the way it is. I have this ambition, which I have kind of fanned for a couple of years, for a number of years. I have this ambition for some reason. I would love to own a little farm somewhere. Maybe it's harkening back to the days in which I worked on the farms back when I was a kid, or back when I was working for a farmer who stored grain in great big grain elevators not too long ago, back in my 40s. I have this ambition to do this. It was my misfortune to choose an area to live in which land goes at a premium. So my ability to earn enough money to secure such an item, such a thing, doesn't really meet up with my desire. And so maybe I close down a little bit. I pile things up. Kind of like this foolish farmer in the pericope, in the parable. I pile it up. Maybe I can get some good out of it. Material things, stuff, it's not the thing that we should cling on to. We always want more. But the truth is that the thing that we really want more of is our relationships. I sit down and I talk to couples when I'm doing premarital counseling with them. What are the 3 things, I tell them, that you think cause problems in a marriage? And they almost always get at least the first 2 right. Was like sex, that's almost. Money, yeah, I can see that. Children. Those are the 3 things in my experience that cause the greatest problems in a marriage. And those are the things that we cling on to. Those are the things that we place a lot of value in. The first 2, not so much maybe some, but those children. For one who doesn't have children, wow, seeing the dynamic of parents and grandparents and their children is profound. That's profound. That's strong. It even takes a backseat, I think, to material things. It takes a backseat to money. It takes a backseat to sex. Ask any parent out there. That is where we place our value. Now, Jesus doesn't say anything about placing value like that in this prayer. Jesus says, place your value in things of God. The things that your soul needs. It's not money. Probably not sex. But it might be children. And again, maybe we lift them up to too high a pedestal sometimes. I don't know. This is a hard question for me. I'm not going to try to tell you that that's exactly what's going on, but it is something to consider. It's easy for us to say, well, sex, yeah, we idolize that. We put that as an idol. Watch any of these television shows, and you go, ooh, maybe we have fetishized that aspect of life, lifted it up above all others. Money, for crying out loud, it doesn't take, I don't have to tell you how much we idolize money and getting stuff. We also idolize our children, I think, maybe. Sometimes we do that. I think in right proportion, all those things are great and wonderful things. They should be valued because they are valuable. They are valuable to each and every one of us, but given in the right context. Given in the right context. I think that's what Jesus is asking us to do, to focus on our souls, to look at ourselves, to focus where we place our value, and to work as hard as we possibly can to keep them together, to keep them on the right place, in the right way. Jack Benny used to have this routine where he was well known. For those of us who don't know Jack Benny that well, I remember seeing this a lot. Growing up the son of a radio disc jockey, he loved this stuff. So he brought it in the house and I watched it with my dad all the time. These old television shows, one of which was Jack Benny, who established this character as being such a skinflint. Such a skinflint. I remember one time he's walking to his neighbors with a cup, looking for just a cup of sugar to borrow for something. Someone walks by him and you hear the coin drop into the tin cup, clang. And then he goes, well, thank you. The other time, Jack Benny is walking along, and a robber comes up to him, sticks a gun in his face, and says, your money or your life? Long pause. I said, your money or your life? And Jack Benny goes, I'm thinking about it, I'm thinking about it. Sometimes we're all like that. Caught between the demands of our money and our lives. Maybe we pay no attention to our eternal life. Jesus repeatedly told us we can't serve two, but maybe we can serve one. Through the right use of our money, we can serve God through the right use of our sex. We can serve God by the right use of our relationships, the right use of our children. I don't think there's anything wrong with any of that. And that, I think, is truly the lesson for today. The lesson that Luke was trying to bring us. The word, consider it, think about it. Thank you for your attention. May God bless each and every one of you. Our hymn of reflection is number 580.